The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. And we understand the mark of the beast is the last event before the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, verse 10, verse 14 through verse 16. And the mark of the beast has everything to do with false worship, which means there has to be a specific type of economy that is going to serve the purpose for the enforcement of the mark of the beast. This type of economy has to be digital only. And this is what is happening all over the world. And today I'm going to be addressing the fact it is going on right now in the United States of America. And based on end-time prophecies, the mark of the beast begins first in the U.S. We now have a breaking news that President Trump just signed an executive order. And that executive order is to phase out paper checks. Paper checks. Sign. Payable to. You sign your name. Paper checks phased out. Now, checks are on paper. What is next? Phasing out cash. Tangible. Monetary transaction. Phase it out. Make sure everything is digital. That was just signed a few days ago. And remember, the mark of the beast system must be based on a particular economy so they'll be able to surveil. How will they know who is compliant, who is non-compliant with the mark of the beast crisis? There has to be surveillance. Chapter 13 of Revelation, verse 15 through verse 17. You won't be able to buy or sell except you receive the mark of the beast, except you worship falsely. How would they know? There has to be surveillance. There has to be intrusive surveillance, abusive surveillance, control, economic slavery. This step by President Trump is one step closer to the mark of the beast crisis. The foundation is laid. He actually stated that he is modernizing the economy in America, phasing out checks, phasing out paper checks, and bringing in a digital-only payment system in America, the federal government down to the local citizen. Right now we're seeing this happening in America, and I'm going to be addressing that today. Also remember this, and please don't forget it, that at the beginning of Christ's earthly ministry, he cleansed the temple of money changers. Keep your eyes on the money changers, the banks, the merchants, the Federal Reserve, the central banks. At the close of Christ's earthly ministry, he cleansed the temple a second time, removing the money changers. Watch out for these money changers. He even said, that's the president, I am crashing the economy. I'm going to be playing those clips in short order. Beloved, let's get right into this, shall we? Take a look at this. This is Trump signing the executive order to modernize the U.S. Treasury Department to a new payment system. Clip one.
Next, sir, we have an executive order for your attention relating actually to government payments. Historically, checks issued by the Treasury are, I believe, 14 times more likely to become the subject of fraud than electronic transfer payments. This is an executive order that's going to push the Treasury Department to modernize its payment system to ensure that.
Very startling to say the least, my friends. I'm going to be rolling that clip in its entirety shortly, so please stay tuned for that. This is Mother Beast, and Mother Beast, M-O-B, Mother Beast, the papacy, has 8 tentacles. as you can see illustrated. And all these 8 tentacles have the acronym MOB. I want to focus today on money of the beast and monitoring of the beast, MOB, the surveillance system. Please, friends, watch this. And then will come mandates of the beast, MOB. Criteria, requirements that must be met, or you'll be treated as a pariah in society and not be accommodated nor tolerated. Take a look at this. This is from the White House, March 25th, 2025. Headline reads, President Trump modernizes payments to and from America's bank account. It says phasing out paper checks. Today, President Trump signed an executive order to modernize how the government handles money, switching from old-fashioned paper-based payments to fast, secure, electronic payments. Now, friends, notice when this goes into effect. And please note this date because later on, I'm going to reference it again. It goes into effect September 30, 2025. It reads, the order mandates that effective September 30, 2025, the federal government will cease issuing paper checks for all disbursements, including intra-governmental payments, benefits, don't forget benefits, vendor payments, and tax refunds. Tax refunds. Are we not in that season now for tax refund? We're in the month of April, right? Let's continue. All executive departments and agencies must transition to modern electronic funds transfer. Of course, those methods like direct deposit, debit and credit card payments, digital wallets, and real-time transfers. Now, friends, I'm going to be unfolding this pragmatically, surgically, as a physician with his scalpel. I want you all to realize this again. This is a phasing out of paper checks. So what comes next? Phasing out of paper currency and making everything digital only. Let me give a quick qualification. I am not against a digital society. What I'm against is a digital only, operative word, only society, where you have no other option and everything is surveilled, controlled. That is the tyranny in the actual policy. Now, understand this. This is not only going on in the United States of America. Can I show you something? This is going on in my birth country, Jamaica. Listen to the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, actually stating that we are going to phase out paper checks, phase out paper currency. We are going to modernize our economy. Why is it, how is it the Prime Minister of Jamaica and the President of America are all saying the same thing? What script are they reading from? Andrew Holness, clip 1. Watch this.
In the coming weeks and days, I'll be making certain announcements regarding the acceleration of Jamaica's intention to become a fully digital society. We are well on our way to this. We have established the national identification system. We have put in place our digital currency. We have given directions to our ministries to digitalize their operations. Most of our ministries are now moving from paper-based systems to digital systems. Our military is transitioning.
Notice, most of our ministries, meaning the function of government, is moving from paper-based to everything being electronic. In this respect, Jamaica is ahead of America. That was in 2023. That was when it was publicly announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And the process is ongoing as I speak in 2025. President Trump just officially made it public and made it official. Moving from paper-based to electronic only. Well, that means we can listen to what Andrew Holness just said and understand what is forthcoming in America. Andrew Holness just said, we have begun to roll out our digital currency. Pause. Does President Trump have a digital currency? Yes. He is promoting a stable coin. I will come to that shortly. Secondly, Andrew Holness just said that there is coming a digital ID. So what must we also expect in America? A digital ID. Beloved, we are being surrounded. But don't stop there. Let's continue. He went on to state, cash will no longer be accepted. Here it is.
There are some countries now that you go and you go in your pocket and you take out cash to pay your bill. And they say, sorry, I'm sorry, sir, we don't take cash here. It's the reality. It's too expensive to deal with cash. So a lot of businesses are converting their systems away from cash.
Now, how many of you in the comment section actually write a personal check, put that into an envelope, and send that off to the government, maybe IRS? My friends, as of September 30, 2025, you can no longer write a check and send that to the government. They will say paper transactions are no longer accepted. Just as Andrew Holness just said, you'll go into your pocket, women, into your purses, men, into your wallets, and come forth with cash. And they will say, no cash accepted. Clip 3. He goes on to state that the era of paper checks and cash is coming to an end. Watch this.
Mr. Principal, you spoke about the fourth industrial revolution. Many Jamaicans don't even know what we're talking about. That don't mean anything to them. They're still comfortable with the cash under the mattress. They still want to go and fill out the form and hand it in. But that era is fast coming to an end.
Mercy. Two quick things. That era is fast coming to an end. Please, friends, whenever I insert points, please don't miss the big picture. I'm addressing President Trump, but I'm showing you that this is not an anomaly, an isolated move by the president to modernize the economy in America by phasing out paper checks. Next, phasing out paper cash. This is a movement that's rapidly happening around the world. First world countries and third world countries, developing countries and developed countries. Number 2, understand this and please do not forget it. If you notice here, how many of you recalled driving around town and you saw those shops, stores with the big words, check cash? I could not tell the last time I saw a check cash place. Because people would get their payment, their salary, their paycheck, paper checks from their business. That day is fast coming to an end. That means those stores, cash checks, no more. It's going to become archaic. Watch carefully what he goes on to state. And Your Holiness.
Now, I know there are some people who are afraid of the digital world, for no other reason than they just don't understand it. And there are just some people who love to see the money in their hand. Money showing up on their screen is not the same as money in their pocket. And so they just don't trust that. They want to see the live, raw cash. And I hear somebody say amen. Because I know, I understand the psychology. But believe me, my friends, my constituents, my family members, the world is changing rapidly.
Now, two things. Just understand what the Prime Minister of Jamaica just said. He stated some people love to have the money on their mattress, the money in their hands. They don't want to see the money on a screen, as if it's not the same thing. So what is he telling you? It's a digital-only society. Number two, if you notice, do you remember several months ago, I shared with you that the UN General Secretary went to Jamaica to hold a conference with Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And he gave the Prime Minister an actual title, an epithet. He called him the Champion Boy. Andrew Holness was dubbed Champion Boy. Champion Boy of what? Champion Boy of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Jamaica, Andrew Holness was Champion Boy for Agenda 2030, and that's where I'm going right now. This move by Andrew Holness, this move by President Trump is based on Agenda 2030. So while President Trump may take the posture and the position as if he's against the UN goals and policies and mandates and statutes, he's doing the very same thing under a different name, under a different package. But the kernel in the actual housing is still the same. Watch carefully, friends. He was what? He was Champion Boy. Champion Boy for the papal agenda, Andrew Holness. Champion Boy for the agenda of that Jesuit-trained General Secretary of the United Nations. Champion Boy for the WEF, World Economic Forum tyrannical agenda. Champion Boy. Give him the gold medal. Might as well they give him a gold medal. Come back here. So this is Agenda 2030. Everybody, take a look at goal number 1. There's 17 goals. Look at goal number 1, top row, first one, number 1. No poverty. Look at what it says here. I'm going to blow this up and make it larger in print. Number 1, digital IDs linked with bank or mobile money accounts. Friends, mobile money accounts. So they are going to phase out paper checks, phase out cash, paper cash, make everything digital only. The Prime Minister just said things are happening rapidly. Well, the UN said it's going to take place in the next 7 years and the pace must be accelerated. That was stated in 2023. What is 7 years from 2023? 2030. Agenda 2030. And this is the papal agenda. The Pope actually said the same thing. 7-year journey to sustainability. The UN Sustainable Development Goals. It's right there, my friends. 7 years to total sustainability. The next few clips I'm going to share with you, I won't read everything. You may pause the video and mentally consume them. This is the agenda of the papacy. I don't want to read everything lest you miss the big picture. Let's stay on the highway, shall we? Let's stay on highway I-75, I-95. All right, here it is. Let's not branch off on the side streets. It's a digital-only society to the World Bank, the IMF. And once the Pope said that, the Secretary General of the IMF went along with the Pope's agenda to implement a digital-only society. We need a new economic order, says the Pope. And Popery, the Roman Catholic Church, was and still is the backbone of the slave trade. To fulfill Revelation 18, Babylon will enslave the whole world, but she must control all goods and services. To do so, you will need a surveillance system. I pause. Did you comprehend that insert a while ago? Okay, now let me move on. What's the big picture? President Trump has just signed an executive order to phase out paper checks. Next, to phase out cash, paper cash, phase it out. He's going to modernize the economy. This is in America, right? Look at the EU, look at Europe. It's called 50 in 5 in the next 5 years by 2028. What are they pushing? A digital-only society. Take a look at those 3 things that are circulating on the left of your screen. I won't say much because I want you to understand I'm addressing President Trump. This is Christine Lagarde, the director of the European Union economic structure. She says the ECB is looking to finish its digital euro by 2025 in the month of October. Stop right there. So President Trump says he's modernizing the economy by September 2025, phasing out paper checks. Next, phase out paper cash. The European Union bankers, the head is saying October 2025, September, October, September, October. Here she is. It's right there, friends. Phase out paper checks. Blue words underlined, September 30, 2025. Here she is. Listen.
Meaning European Council, meaning European Commission, so that we can eventually, not put to bed, but put to reality this digital euro. The deadline for us is going to be October of 25, and we are getting ready for that deadline. But
now, friends, I want you all to think about this. Let's come back to President Trump. Again, I'll be putting in inserts, but please do not miss the big picture. Since President Trump has now phased out paper checks, next, phase out paper cash. What system is he implementing? In his own words, a digital electronic payment system. That is what he is now rolling out. Question: will it appear similar and do the same work as a central bank digital currency? Will it be very similar to a CBDC? President Trump will not call it a CBDC, but it does effectively the same thing as a CBDC, and that is the deception. Now notice here, look at the blue words in the first sentence. Switching from old-fashioned paper-based payments to fast, secure, electronic payments. For what purpose? This is the only way you're going to receive government benefits, everybody underscore that, and receive tax refunds and be able to pay your taxes. Stop right there. Those of you who are live in the chat, what are some of these government benefits that people receive? And please expand the territory as you list the various government benefits. Watch carefully. This is the vice president of the IMF, CBDC. Listen what he says about government benefits, welfare benefits.
For example, welfare payment. For example, consumption coupon. For example, food stamp. By programming CBDC, those money can be precisely targeted for what kind of people can own and what kind of use this money can be utilized.
Yeah. It would do the very same thing based on the words of President Trump's executive order. Those of you alive in the chat, you put housing, Social Security, food stamps, WICs for mothers, EBT, it's all child care, disability, cash assistance. Thank you. Clip 2.
One example in China.
It's very similar to the tyrannical system in the Panda Nation.
One example in China, because I personally experienced it, right? Those transaction data can be utilized by service providers.
Enough. And friends, what about Medicare? What about Medicaid? All these benefits will be placed on a digital-only society. Now, understand this. President Trump is rolling in a digital-only society, and in the same breath, simultaneously, President Trump is promoting cryptocurrencies. He says America is going to be the champion in the cryptocurrency arena, and President Trump is going to be the first cryptocurrency president. That is a direct quote. The first cryptocurrency president. So it would make sense that he would phase out paper checks, phase out next paper cash, and roll out a digital-only, operative word, only, no options, only society. Why? Because cryptocurrencies, look at your screen, are traceable. They are programmable. I'm not saying that. That is what the media sources that are reputable are all saying. Okay, everybody, come back here. Let's stay right here with President Trump. So he's modernizing the U.S. economy, and the deadline is going to be September 30th, 2025, when he'll phase out paper checks. Next, phase out paper cash. Would that not imply all of us would then have to have a digital payment method? That's exactly what the executive order said. Look at this carefully. It says payments made to the federal government, such as fees, fines, loans, taxes, must also be processed electronically. It goes on to say, a comprehensive public awareness campaign will be launched to inform federal payment recipients of the shift to electronic options and offer guidance on setting up digital payments. Stop right there. Do you see it now? So between March 25th to September 30th, 2025, expect to see on legacy media, mainstream media, this programming, this information. You'll see it on social media sites. Make sure you have your account ready, because as of September 30th, 2025, no more paper checks. Now, since it's going to begin with the federal government, what about the mom and pop stores? Just follow the bouncing ball, please. Federal government, phase out paper. Then the B Corporation will also follow suit in phasing out paper. Why? Because these bureaucracies and companies can no longer use paper to communicate with the federal government. It's going to trickle down, all the way down to your local stores, your box stores. Do you know I stood in Publix recently and saw a woman pay for her groceries, and what was she doing? Writing a check to the cashier. Now, again, I couldn't tell the last time I wrote a check at any grocery store. I just don't do it. But the point here is, and I know some of you have not done that in weeks, am I right? If so, say, yes, Pastor, we haven't written a check at grocery stores in months. My point here is, at least we still have the option. Okay, what's going to happen when there is a cyber attack? When everything shuts down? When Klaus Schwab and the WEF are telling us that there's going to be a massive cyber attack that is going to be worse than the economic crisis that we encountered and experienced during the pandemic. Would it not make sense to have a plan B? Come on now, an option? But they're phasing everything out. Hold on. How many of you in your safe box at home have checks from your banks? Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, give me some preachers, some banks out there, and you're drawing blank. Don't tell me you don't have a bank account. Oh, I called them all. Okay, I named them all. You have checks, so very, very soon, you must take those checks and what? Shred them in the shredder. That day is right upon us. Look carefully. Watch carefully. So if we don't have, and if we're not a part of this system, what will we not be able to access? We'll not be able to access the 10 services on your screen. My preacher, make that large, please. Number 1, healthcare. Number 2, financial services. I'm going clockwise. Food and sustainability. Travel and mobility. Humanitarian response. E-commerce. Social media platforms. E-government. E-government. Telecommunications. Smart cities. That's it. So what is Trump launching? An e-government. It's right there, my e-government. And President Trump publicly would tell you that he is against the WEF in public. His cohorts will also echo the same. But they say one thing, yet the agenda that they are promoting is the same textbook agenda of the same tyrants that they say that they are against. Let's move on. It's right there, friends. WEF. Now, those of you alive, Safe to Serve International, what did we call this wheel? Some of you gave me some names. The wheel of Babylon, right? The wheel of tyranny. The wheel of the mark of the beast. The wheel of surveillance, the wheel of slavery. You gave me all these names. I need to actually simmer it down to one. Let's move on from that. Let's come back here. In the executive order, President Trump actually said that what he's doing is not a CBDC. While he'll phase out paper cash, phase out paper checks, and roll out an electronic only payment, he made sure to put in the executive order, it is not a central bank digital currency. That's the last sentence in red, underlined on the screen. This executive order does not establish a central bank digital currency. Why would President Trump put that in print? Watch this, listen.
And tonight I'm also making another promise to protect Americans from government tyranny. As your president, I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency. Do you know about that?
Do you know how long I was waiting to play this clip. Every time I got to it, it would just not play. It played today. Praise the Lord. Beloved, the man just said, I will separate the U.S. government from tyranny. Tyranny. I will not enact a central bank, digital currency, a CBDC. What two things did the man just conflate? CBDC with tyranny. Okay. So if we look at the nature of a CBDC and look at what President Trump is promoting, you'll realize both do the same thing. The stable coin he's pushing does the same thing, which I'll get to shortly. So what is he promoting? Government tyranny. It's a fulfillment of end-time prophecy, which I will get to. Here he is.
I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common-sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history.
So he mentioned stable coins, right? Watch carefully. Stable coins, for those who don't know, it's a digital form of payment. And that is what he's championing while he's saying he'll phase out paper checks and paper cash. Here he is.
And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime. And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that. Thank you.
And friends, whether or not they realize it, it's going to happen. Here's why. Because the world, the other nations, are all rolling out a digital-only payment system. Think about this. Since the world is doing that, for America to compete, it only makes sense. For America to compete. So even if Trump doesn't want to do it, I give him the benefit of the doubt, even if he doesn't want to do it. For America to compete in the market, when all the other nations, the EU, the powerful EU, 27, 28 countries are doing this. Caribbean, Bahamas, Jamaica, are doing it. Right? To compete and to keep America's money, the reserve currency, they also have to go digital. That's it. So our hands are being forced to go into the digital-only society. That is what you're seeing. And the mark of the beast is on foot. Watch carefully here, friends. I need to explain some things for those who aren't familiar with this financial rhetoric. Now, look at the screen here. It actually states that President Trump will roll out the stablecoin, this digital-only society, his currency this year. This year. Now, look at the second sentence. Whatever President Trump is promoting is called blockchain. Everybody in the chat, please write that name down, blockchain. It's a blockchain economy. Later on, I'll play a clip to share with you. CBDC runs on the same blockchain technology. Stable coins run on the same blockchain technology. The only difference is who is issuing it. CBDC issued by the central bank of a country. CBDC, the central bank issues it. Stablecoin that President Trump is promoting is issued by the private bankers. Okay, watch this now. Watch this. Who are the central bankers? Private bankers. Let me repeat that. CBDC is issued by the central bank of a country. For America, it's the Federal Reserve. Okay. The stable coins are issued by private bankers. Watch this now. Is the Federal Reserve, the Central Bank of America, really run by Americans? No. It's run by who? Private bankers. Do you see what I'm doing here, friends? So it doesn't matter if you say CBDC or stable coins, it's controlled by the same puppet master. That's why Christ said in Matthew 24, when he was asked, what will be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? The first thing Christ said in verse 4, let no man deceive you. Come back here, preacher. Blockchain. Trump says he is going to call for this bill, the stable coin, the blockchain technology economy in America before August. It makes sense now. So before August, President Trump wants on his desk from those who are putting this thing together, this bill to now launch his stable coin, his version of cryptocurrency, which is run on the same platform of blockchain technology. By when? August. Everybody who's live in the chat, what happens by September 30, 2025? A phasing out of paper checks. So August, a bill to phase out paper cash. September, a bill, the deadline to phase out paper checks. It's all connected. Okay, because I've already stated these points, I won't read what I already said. Pause the video and mentally consume that paragraph. The genius bill, genius stablecoin bill, all right? It's run by the private bankers, okay? Pause the video and read that. It does this very same thing as CBDCs. All right, there it is. This is from the World Economic Forum, January 2025. The WEF tells us stable coins runs on the same blockchain network. You can't make this up. Blockchain. And now they're connecting stable coins with AI technology, artificial intelligence. Everybody. I know it's a lot. You're being inundated with facts that are irrefutable. But please bear with me. Don't become cloyed. Bear with me. Write down in the chat, AI and stable coins. AI and stable. Why? Later on, I'm going to share with you that President Trump just announced publicly he's partnering with billionaires who are going to spend $500 billion to set up, launch the world's biggest AI surveillance system globally. And now we see AI is being linked with stablecoins. Stablecoins, blockchain technology. Stablecoins, it can be traceable, programmable. Stablecoins are surveillable. Surveillance. So what would they need to surveil? AI infrastructure. The dots are connected. The money of the beast system is here. All right.
And it's not about the U.S. versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money.
Mercy. Now, two things. Google Pippa Malmgren and look at her resume. So when she speaks intelligently because she has knowledge of inside information. Notice the conference that she made that statement at. World Government Summit 2022. In less than 3 years, President Trump has rolled out exactly what she said. The EU has done the same. Jamaica has done the same. It's world government. Let me say it this way, 3 things. One world religion, one world government, and one world economy. Exactly what you're seeing here. Everything is surveillable. Come back here. We are about to abandon, she says, to now launch a new system. It's based on blockchain. She just said that. Okay, watch carefully here. At the same summit, what words were echoed? What question was asked? I want you all to answer this question in the chat. What question, Pastor? Here it is at the same World Government Summit.
And the title of this session, are we ready for a new world order?
Those of you who are live in the comment section, what is your response to that question? What is your response to that question? Let's move on here. This is...
you look at how they're setting up the regulatory structure in the Genius Act, it looks like...
Notice, Catherine Fitz mentioning the Genius Act, which is what Trump is promoting, which is the stable coin. If you Google Genius Act with stable coin, it's the same thing. Very similar, same thing. Notice now, she would tell you it would do the very same thing as a CBDC. Same thing, different packaging. Men, what's your favorite color? Mine is blue. Women, what's yours? Pink? Amen. Because men don't wear pink. Amen? All right, here it is.
You look at how they're setting up the regulatory structure in the Genius Act, it looks like it's just a retail CBDC. In other words, but the banks are going to run it.
It explains so many things. They're abandoning CBDC. They're pushing stablecoin. They're pushing crypto. They're pushing the dollar. And they're pushing control. It ticks off so many boxes. It's amazing.
If you look at digital money and an all-digital monetary system, it's, in a sense, it's no different than a CBDC.
It's better than a CBDC because it's run through private parties.
Right.
There's no transparency.
There's no transparency, and they have no legal obligation, and Congress doesn't begin to have the jurisdiction over them.
So here is a monetary system being promoted by the president. Later on, Congress will have no jurisdiction over it. Think about it. Congress has no jurisdiction over private bankers? No. And notice now, let's connect this to Popery. Who controls the merchants of the earth? Beloved, I'm not in the clandestine meetings where they have their surreptitious conversations in secret. We aren't there. But what does the Bible say? Revelation 18, verse 2 and verse 3, Mr. Babylon the Great makes the merchants rich. Don't forget that. It all leads back to Rome. All roads lead to Rome, and all roads come from Rome. Okay, beloved, in this portion, Remember, I'm going to give you inserts, but please don't miss the big picture. I'm going to share with you now the reason President Trump said he is going to phase out paper checks and bring in an electronic payment system, digital only. And then by August, he wants a bill on his desk that will promote an electronic only payment in America. I mean, you could see where we are, right? I'm going to share with you how disingenuous President Trump is, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, is, and Christine Lagarde, the financial chief of the European Union, is. Don't be deceived by them. They may claim to be politicians and promoting politics, but it's what I call polytricks. So what Trump says, oh, it's not CBDC, it does the very same thing as the CBDC. Deception, deception, deception. Eli, you lie, you lie, you lie. Here is Andrew Holness from Jamaica. Hear what he says. Very deceptive.
There is no attempt by the government to remove cash, meaning paper money, from the system.
Mr. Holness said he's actually worried that Jamaicans would interpret the information in that manner.
Just stop for one moment. Just be rational. Why would the government spend billions of dollars to change currency to a new, durable banknote that we don't have to be changing it ever so often, only to turn around and take it out of the system? Don't you see it is stupidness?
And friends, he's blasting, pardon me for laughing, he's blasting, lambasting his critics. Look at the date of that clip. It's June 1st, 2023. This was the response because people called him out on it, because this clip was made and published May 11, 2023, approximately 19 days before May 11. Hear what he said on May 11.
In the coming weeks and days, I'll be making certain announcements regarding the acceleration of Jamaica's intention to become a fully digital society.
Mercy.
We are well on our way to this. We have established the national identification system. We have put in place our digital currency. We have given directions to our ministries to digitalize their operations.
Okay.
Most of our ministries are now moving from paper-based systems to digital systems.
Okay.
Our military is transitioning.
It's clear. And because he was called out on it, the man went public 19 days after. You really believe that we would roll out new fiat currencies and then just remove it from circulation? Mr. Prime Minister Holness, you're simply following the agenda of the West. You're called a champion boy for the UN and the papal agenda. Remember, my friends, don't be deceived by that rhetoric. When Babylon fell, do you know what Nebuchadnezzar said? Is this not great Babylon I have built? And then it fell. So of course they built it up, only for it to fall. Do you remember Humpty Dumpty? Let's move on. Let's come now to Christine Lagarde, who oversees the economy for all 28 countries that comprise the EU.
The digital euro is on the move. Yesterday, the Governing Council of the ECB approved the opening of the preparation phase. It will be a journey, and we will walk the journey together with the legislator. All European institutions will be involved to make sure that Europe is equipped with the currency of the future.
Listen.
Cash is here to stay.
What?
You will
Cash is here to stay, but she mentioned the currency of the future being what? Only digital. Watch carefully now.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash.
Mercy.
If you do, you are on the grey market. You take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
Mercy.
But
And yet she said, cash is here to stay. Beloved, do you see why, as God's people, we should choose not to vote for these deceptive politicians? They simply tell you what they want you to hear. Only those who are mentally infirmed would not see them lying, fork-tongued, deceptive. Watch this. And when does Christine Lagarde say is their deadline to roll out the digital euro? Here she is.
put to reality this digital euro. The deadline for us is going to be October of 25, and we are getting ready for that deadline. But
beloved, let's move on. Remember, I insert things in the meal, but don't forget the flavor. Don't forget the golden thread rolling through everything I'm stating. President Trump, for those of you just joining in live, President Trump has just signed an executive order to phase out paper checks by September 30, 2025. And by August 2025, he wants a bill on his desk to now launch stablecoin cryptocurrency on the blockchain network, which is going to be very similar to CBDC. Just don't call it CBDC. Let's come back to President Trump. Let's take a look at a few reasons why President Trump signed the executive order to phase out paper checks by September 2025. Watch carefully. And then I'm going to show you other people are saying the very same thing, which confirms that this is not conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy against God's people's freedom, liberty, and true religion. Watch this. In the order, the executive order, it says, paper-based payments, such as checks and money orders, impose unnecessary costs. What now? Okay. Delays and risks of fraud, lost payments, theft, and inefficiencies. Digital payments are more efficient, less costly. Here is the video clip. Here is the video clip to confirm everything that was written in that executive order on March 25.
Next, sir, we have an executive order for your attention relating actually to government payments. Historically, checks issued by the Treasury are, I believe, 14 times more likely to become the subject of fraud than electronic transfer payments. This is an executive order that's going to push the Treasury Department to modernize its payment system to ensure that where possible they're using electronic methods of payment as opposed to paper checks in order to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which is obviously an endeavor that we've been pursuing in numerous aspects of government under your leadership.
It's basically modernization of equipment and methods, and it's something that really I think he's going to be a great Secretary of the Treasury wanted, Scott, and so we're doing this, and we have other modernization programs going on. We could let somebody else, whoever's next, whoever that may be, do it, but it's something that should have been done 25, 30 years ago.
Here he is a statement he made in that soliloquy. There are other modernization of government going on. Number one. Number two, he said, what he is doing should have been done decades ago. Lord have mercy. Beloved, if God allows this president to roll out the money of the beast system, when we get to that point, we will be able to look back, hindsight, and realize that God actually gave us a period of respite. Imagine if the money of the beast system had been launched years ago, would we have been ready? Physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, socially. If we aren't even fully, completely ready now, it means we would not have been ready. Am I going to hear from you the words, Lord, thank you? Thank you, Lord. Thank you for holding back the winds of strife. And yet we are dilly-dallying in sin, still slumbering and loving to sleep. He says, the present paper payment system is too costly. Here is Prime Minister Andrew Holness saying the very same thing in 2023. What script are they reading from? Here it is.
There are some countries now that you go and you go in your pocket and you take out cash to pay your bill. And they say, sorry, I'm sorry, sir, we don't take cash here. It's the reality.
Listen.
It's too expensive to deal with cash. So a lot of businesses are converting their systems away from cash.
Mercy. Do you see trends? It's clear. Now, let's go back to President Trump's executive order. He says it's not CBDC, but whatever he is promoting does the very same thing as the CBDC. I'm going to read you something from the executive order so no one says it's my opinion or I'm stating that which is not there and call me a conspiracy theorist without evidences. Now watch carefully what he said here. Phasing out paper checks by September 30, 2025. The last sentence says, all executive departments and agencies must transition to modern electronic funds transfer, like direct deposit, debit, credit card payments. What is the next thing underlined there? It says digital wallets. I laugh at that. Beloved, those of you who are live in the chat right now, where's my wallet? What do you normally put in your wallet? Whatever you put in your wallet, your literal, tangible wallet, is what you are also going to put in a digital wallet. Wake up. Do you not see it, my friends? Open, Lord, please, Lord, anoint our eyes with heavenly eye salve, that we might see and comprehend. Some people see but don't discern. Pray for discernment. Beloved, I don't want to miss this. This so-called modernizing. What comes to my mind is that mystery Babylon, modern Babylon is being erected and we can't see it. Trump said, what he's doing, I'm going to set this up. Are there any Democrats proponents in the chat? Are there any Democrats voters in the chat? You watch me and you right now. Are there any donkey party proponents in the chat right now? You watch me and you right now. Because some of you who are partisan will say, I'm so glad I didn't vote red or vote elephant or vote Republican. Because look what they are doing. Watch this. You heard in the clip, President Trump said, what I'm doing should have been done years ago, decades ago. That would include not only Republican presidents, but even Democrat presidents, Republican leaders in Congress, and Democrat leaders in Congress. Do you know Nancy Pelosi? Yes, Donkey Party. Nancy Pelosi, during the recent pestilence 19 pandemic, was pushing a digital wallet in order to pay people who were less fortunate and suffered greatly during the pandemic. Don't take my words for it. Forbes magazine 2020. Look at your screen. It's right there. The creation of a digital dollar and the establishment of, quote, digital dollar wallets. That's it. That's it right there, friends. Hold on. Let that sink in, because I am going to share with you something else. So what Trump is doing, Republican, is what Democrats were also about to do. That was 3.5 years ago. God gave us a moment of respite, whether it's CBDC from the nation's government bank or stablecoin from private bankers. It's one and the same. As we would say, sell me 6 of those items. It's 6. I can say, sell me half dozen of the item. What's half dozen? The same thing? 6? Different name. Different packaging and title. Watch carefully now. Do you not see it's 2 wings of the same fowl? 2 wings of the same bird? Wake up. It's the unclean bird of Revelation 18, verse 2 and verse 3. So who vote donkey now? Donkey, laughing at you. Who vote elephant? When elephants play, the grass suffers. That is an African proverb. When elephants play, the grass suffers. What does that mean? Look it up. Come back here. Nancy Pelosi, who was the Speaker of the House, second in line to president, at that time said what? We must launch a digital dollar wallet for Americans. In the article on Forbes, that same one, it says, don't do it yet. Wait until another crisis. I couldn't believe they put that in print. So what are we to expect then? Another crisis? Beloved, today, I'm going painstakingly slow because I want the points to rivet, to leave an indelible mark upon our minds. Watch this. When Nancy Pelosi was promoting that digital dollar wallet, it was in unison with men who are connected to the Pope of Rome, men who are connected to what is called the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. That name is actually the modern name for the Inquisition Board of the papacy and the Jesuits. Look it up. What did the Inquisition Board do? The Jesuits do? There it is, friends. Chris Giancarlo. It's all there. You can pause the video and read that. I won't bore you with that. There it is. Charles Giancarlo. That's it. A digital wallet. Federal Bank. It's all there, my friends. And also Daniel Gorfin. It's all there. There it is, friends. A letter to the Pope of Rome. It's all there. And look at the red arrow. The Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. The Vatican, the Holy See. Beloved, as we would say in forensic science, as we go to a crime scene, we look for fingerprints to match that. in the database with known offenders, or later on to find the perpetrator. The PayPal, the Pope's fingerprint, the Jesuits, the Black Pope, the Jesuits, their fingerprint are all over the crime scene here, friends. Money of the beast system, a digital wallet. Everybody, I'm going to allow you to hear this from a member of parliament in EU, in Europe. He is protesting against Christine Lagarde's promotion of the euro, which is going to be a digital-only society, and how she's launching a digital wallet, just as the Donkey Party in America was promoting. Trump is now promoting and signed an executive order, March 25th, deadline September 30, 2025. Once you have a digital wallet, you must have everything else you put in the wallet, such as a digital ID. Watch this.
I just left the room where we had the negotiations about the digital identity, and I have bad news. The member states and the European Parliament came to an agreement. That means that probably not far from now, the digital identity will be a fact in the European Union. Right after this agreement, Commissioner Breton said, now we have the digital identity wallet, we have to put something in it. And what he meant was the digital euro, also known as the central bank digital currency. And this is a very bad development. They always promise us not to make this connection. And even a lot of experts, privacy experts and security experts, warned also last week this is a very bad idea for our privacy and our freedom. And still, this digital identity is pushed through.
Beloved, I'm going to share with you a small difference based on the processes, the steps. In the EU, what came first? Let me see if you were listening. What came first? The digital ID or the digital euro? Which one came first in that wallet? It was the ID. Then what? The euro. And the deadline for EU is going to be October 2025. Let's come now to America. Which is being promoted first? You see my point? It's the digital payment system, the digital wallet. Then comes what? The digital ID. I mean, the thing is clear. Let's move on from that. This is Catherine Fitz.
And the reality, as the financial system gets more controlling and more invasive, it's a little bit like bringing up a corral around us. And CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and vaccine passports or digital IDs are sort of the last shutting of the gate.
Beloved, clip 2. It's the last shutting of the gate. So when are we to implement the 5 keys of survival? Is it not now safe to serve international? First-time viewers, it's now. Implement the 5 keys of survival. It's the last shutting of the gate.
I think it's very hard for people who've grown up and enjoyed Western liberty and human liberty to imagine literally that we're going into a system where literally our homes, our cars, our communities become digital concentration camps.
So whether it's CBDC or stable coins, the end result is going to be the same. Okay, friends, okay. In this segment, I told you I'm going to inundate you with facts, empirical facts that you cannot refute if you are sensible and if you're sincere. In this segment now, I'm going to share with you this big picture. President Trump has now signed an executive order to modernize America's economy, to phase out paper checks, next phase out paper cash. That's it. To make it an digital-only payment society. How are they going to handle that? They will need a platform, AI surveillance. And notice, President Trump, as a good manufacturer and a builder, first laid the foundation with the AI surveillance, and now he's going to build upon that the digital wallet. First, it's going to be payments, and then it's going to be a digital ID. Here he is now promoting with Larry Ellison and the others the $500 billion infrastructure for AI called Stargate. Fallen star. And remember, it's the shutting of the gate. I'm playing on the words here. Stargate, star, fallen stars. Angels, fallen angels, star angels. Chapter 1 of Revelation and verse 20. Fallen angels are inspiring, impressing the minds of these men and leaders. Stargate, gate, is the last shutting of the gate.
Welcome back to CBS News 24/7. So President Donald Trump also today celebrating hundreds of billions of dollars that tech executives say they will invest in artificial intelligence. So those executives from OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle, they joined Donald Trump at the White House. Here's the sell by the president to you, the public.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
So big.
Now, this tells me a lot. I don't want to say much here because I want to roll some clips from Larry Ellison. But understand this. Which would you roll out first? Would you roll out the digital wallet, the digital-only payment system, before you roll out the AI surveillance platform? Which would you roll out first? Which would you build first? It would make sense to first build the AI structure which will carry the digital-only society payment structure. This tells me something. That September 30, 2025, the deadline to phase out paper checks and next paper cash, this tells me the AI structure is already in place. That what was announced by Trump and Larry Ellison and the two other men was simply a matter of formality. It's already here. Watch this. Larry Ellison, Sam Altman. It's all there. Listen.
Larry, why on this day one do you think you decided to do this? I assume you've been working on it for a long time.
We have been working on it for a long time. The first data centers are actually under construction in Texas already, and we'll be turning them over to Sam to start training their next model. The data center we already built, it was the largest computer ever built. The data center we're building will surpass it and be the largest computer ever built, which enables this AI, which will allow personalized medicine.
You know, friends, something you can relate to. Some people, quickly, when they're moving into a new house, new property, they get everything ready 100%, then they move in. Other people, they do enough to get the house and the property ready, then they move in. And while they're situated, they work on the other things that were not yet done. What's the point am I making? What point am I making? It's one or the other. And it doesn't matter. The mere fact he gave us September 30, 2025. One, either the AI surveillance system is already complete, or enough of it has been built to start the process. Why would somebody do enough to a house and property, move in, and then do the rest? Time. Time is of the essence. So if it's this option, that means for them, time is of the essence. Clip 2.
This is a very large investment that affects all of humanity.
It will affect who? The whole world. And Larry Ellison, now, please, I don't want to get too much into Larry Ellison, lest again somebody misses the point. We are addressing Trump's executive order, but it's all connected. Larry Ellison said, whatever he's building, that President Trump is promoting and supporting, it's going to be a surveillance system, and citizens will have to be on their best behavior. That's it right there. It will track everyone. Now think about this. Track everyone? Question. Is CBDC traceable? Yes. Stable coins traceable? Because it's all digital. Blockchain technology. Now you can see the connection. Watch this. Notice what Larry Ellison said about the merchants, even MasterCard and Visa, and how before him and his system, all our information are in the hands of private bankers. Stablecoins, private bankers. Trump's stablecoin, private bankers. Who runs Visa? Who runs MasterCard? Private bankers. And yet, they have all of your information and can use it against you. May I ask you a question? Is your card programmable? Everybody in the chat, just feel for your debit card and feel for your credit card. Is that card quasi-programmable? You better believe it. What happens if you lose your card? You can simply call the 1-800 number you have stored on your phone, or you Google it for your bank with the card and say, I'm reporting card stolen or card lost. What happens? They shut the card down. Wake up. They shut, they close, they block all transactions. Are you seeing this? So what happens when everything is digital? But notice now, your card has been stolen. Card is lost. Card is misplaced in the car. It fell between the chair in the vehicle and the side there, the cup holder, and you forgot, you don't know. But you go to the store. What happens? I can't find my card. But what do you do now? You go for what? Come on, brothers, what do? You go for what? Cash. Everybody. Does it make sense to you? So even your cards right now are quasi-programmable. Here it is.
Where do you come down on what NSA is doing?
Well, the great thing is we live in a democracy. If we don't like what NSA is doing, we can just get rid of the government and put in a different government. I think actually we've been collecting this information for so long, and long before NSA was collecting it. Let me tell you who was collecting it. American Express, Bank of Visa, all of your credit card data. We have all of your financial records. This whole issue of privacy is utterly fascinating to me. Who's ever heard of this?
Enough. And what he's building is going to do the same, even more. $500 billion investment. Now, beloved, I won't read these statements, but I'll put them on the screen. Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America, they are merchants, aren't they? Who are they connected to? The Pope of Rome, the Jesuit Pope, the Black Pope, the Jesuits, Jesuit trained, and Jesuit-educated people with clout control in various countries globally. Look at that right there. It's all connected, friends. Preacher, pause the video and you may read that. All connected. This is the tool of the papacy. Cash might be king, but they don't care. That's it. Visa and the papacy. That's it. Visa CEO and the Pope of Rome. Jesuit College, Boston. It's all connected. If I say too much, your man may go down a path and forget the big picture. So please pause the video and you can read that. Notice, with a flick of a switch, they can leave you without a penny. Here is Larry Ellison.
Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison predicts AI surveillance will be part of our everyday lives in the future. During a recent Oracle Q&A, Ellison said AI will soon play a major role in monitoring society through a vast network of interconnected cameras, including security systems, police body cams, and vehicle dash cams.
Everyone would see it. Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior, because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Ellison's vision is for...
It's so clear. Stay right there.
The police, another thing, body cameras. We completely redesigned body cameras. Our body cameras cost $70. Normal body camera costs, I don't know, $7,000. Our body cameras are simply lenses, two lenses attached to your vest, attached to the smartphone that you're wearing. And we actually take the video that the police officer is, by the way, and the camera's always on. You don't turn it on and off. And by the way, the way you turn it on you can't turn it on. I'm going to the bathroom. Oracle, I need 2 minutes to take a bathroom break, and we'll turn it off. The truth is, we don't really turn it off.
Beloved, stop. No more Larry Ellison. And this is the system that is at the base of Trump's executive order. Digital wallet, phase out a digital, phase out paper checks, phase out next paper cash. They must have a system for their stable coins. Earlier, I told you to type 2 words in, AI and stable coins. That's it. AI structure and stable coins. They are like husband and wife in a marriage. And look what the AI structure is going to do. Strip away all your privacy, abusive, intrusive surveillance. Beloved, I'm hoping everything I'm laying out makes sense to date to this point, because now I'm going to share with you. Here is Mr. Trump now saying that he is intentionally crashing the economy, the stock market. Now, he reposted a video that says that. Why would somebody on social media repost a video? It's because they support it. If it's negative and would destroy their influence, they would not repost it. Take a look at this, my friend. Come off my screen, Larry Ellison. Let's get to Trump. That's the point. Headline: Trump shares video about how he is, quote, purposely crashing the stock market, end quote. Next, headline: Donald Trump shares video claiming he's, quote, purposefully crashing the market, end quote, but then insists, quote, he doesn't want anything to go down, end quote. This is his page on Truth Social, where he reposted that video you see dead center. Trump is purposely crashing the market. That's what he reposted on April 4, 2025. Take a listen. The video is noisy in the background, so I'm hoping you'll hear attentively and clearly.
China.
On the
the idea of crashing the markets on purpose, there's been some speculation, partly because of the video that was posted on Truth Social, that there was some sort of deliberate effort on your part to have the market sell off. Can you talk about that?
No, that's not so.
Oh, that's not so. What? Oh, that's not so. You. In other words, black is not black. White is not white. Look in the sky right now. It's not blue up there. It's purple. Second clip. Don't be deceived.
Donald Trump announced the tariffs last week. The world first blinked. Then it panicked. Then markets crashed. And then trillions were wiped off. Just today, the S&P 500 added and erased $2.5 trillion in 1 hour. All on the basis of what was later called a fake news headline, $2.5 trillion. But the US president does not seem to care. He does not think it's a bad thing. In fact, Trump believes that this is exactly what America needs, a bitter pill.
Is there pain in the market at some point you're unwilling to tolerate?
I think your question is so stupid. I mean, I think it's I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
Sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something, a bitter pill. I want to say this, my friends. I want to say this. Please don't miss it. Many financiers and economists would side with President Trump launching his tariffs on other countries, that this would strengthen the local economy in America. I did not go to school and study finance and economy. I did not. That's not my area of expertise. I stay in my lane. However, what are you risking by doing what he's doing? What if what he does crashes the economy? And now they say, well, all the monies you had are now gone, but we cannot replace it with, finish it, we cannot replace your monies in the bank with, you get the point now, a digital currency. Here is officially, Andrew Enriquez, your digital wallet. Hillary, your digital wallet. That's it. That's it now. That's it. And here comes the digital ID. Here comes the digital-only economy. And it may sound good and nothing draconian at first. And then comes calamities. And the mark of the beast is rolled out now. And now they say, you can't buy, you can't sell, you can't transact, you can't travel, etc., except you go along with the mark of the beast. At that time, hindsight will say, oh, that's why you reset the economy. That's my play on words, my witticism. That's why the economy went belly up, to roll out this system. Clear as day, right? Let's continue.
Which has led many to ask the question, did Trump do it on purpose? Did he want the markets to crash? I know it's a weird question to ask, but there's no smoke without fire, and the fire was lit by the president himself. On Friday, he reposted a video link on his social media platform, Truth Social. The video is by a TikTok user, and this is what he's suggesting. Trump is crashing the market on purpose.
Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month, but he's doing it on purpose. And this.
And that was a video that President Trump reposted on his page, social media, Truth Social. Next clip.
And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich.
So how does this even work? The video claims that this is like a wild chess move. Trump imposes the tariffs, the market crashes. He forces money into US Treasury bonds.
The Fed cuts interest rates. Lower rates mean lower mortgage payments. The dollar becomes weaker. Companies end up making more in America, so grocery prices tumble, and somehow the middle class is saved.
Yes.
It sounds convoluted. It also sounds like a classic conspiracy theory, because it most probably is. The funny part is that Trump seems to be backing it.
Mercy. So, beloved, again, Satan always combined with error, deception, enough truth, enough good, enough benefit to deceive. Again, I hope that what was shared today was clear. Yes, it's longer than usual, but some lessons need clarity. It's a loaf of bread. You may break it up in bite sizes. Notice here from Miss Webb. Hear what she says. Christine.
So, for example, let's say this financial cyber attack on the banks takes place, and they say, well, the existing money in your account has disappeared. The hackers took it, but we can return to you the exact same amount of money you had, but it won't be in the dollars you had before. It will be in USDC or this dollar-backed stablecoin, or it will be this token. So you can get an equivalent amount of money back, right, from the money that was stolen from you, but it has to be this new money. It has to be part of this new system. There's the potential here for people to steal money from you and then essentially give it back to you, but with new conditions and with a new social contract. Yeah. You voluntarily accepted this new system and voluntarily onboarded to this new paradigm. But it's a coercion to an extreme degree. All of your money was stolen, right? And now you can only get it back if you take it in the form of the digital dollars that we approve of, or the CBDC, depending on where you are,
Fred, I'm not going to comment on what Whitney, not Christine, Whitney Webb actually just said. I won't comment on that. It's clear what she said. And I also believe what she just said. I'm going to put something in your mind as a seed. Do you realize how several weeks ago I've been sharing all over the media, they are trumpeting, play on words, that President Trump is now our modern day Constantine. Do you know one thing ancient rulers did to make their legacy long lasting? They put themselves on their monies, the coin. Imagine a Trump coin. Imagine what legacy he would think he have. I saved America's economy. I saved the middle class. Is this not great America which I have built? Make America great again. And he rolls out the digital-only society, stable coins. You look at them, again, it won't be tangible, most likely, but it's on the screen, on your phone, Trump's picture. What legacy in their worldly minds that would be for them, whether or not. The point is clear. I saved America. But at what expense? To bring in tyranny. Oh, my friends, listen.
And the other thing that I'm really concerned about as it relates to, a coming economic crisis is that I think we're going to see a major effort to saddle American consumers with programmable, surveillable money and seizable money. And so, of course, a lot of people for years now have been very concerned about central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. But there are also things issued by the private sector, like stable coins, for example, that are just as programmable and surveillable and seizable as CBDCs are.
That's clear. Let me roll quickly and bring this to a close. And then I want to hear from you, your feedback from today's lesson. Let me roll with a few more clips.
So I think it's very likely in the event of a major debt crisis or some sort of crisis that damages significantly regular Americans' purchasing power, there will be an effort to onboard Americans onto one of those two versions of programmable surveillable money. So it's possible, if Kamala wins, we could see a CBDC or something like that. But in the case of Trump, he's sort of come out in favor of stable coins. He did that recently at his speech at the Bitcoin conference earlier this year. And, stable coins are just as programmable and surveillable and seizable as CBDCs in theory are. And I think those, as people have rightly pointed out, are a threat to our financial privacy and ultimately our financial freedom. So
my objective today is to present an airtight presentation.
People should be focusing not just on CBDCs, but also, these other, digital currencies that have the potential to offer those same, Orwellian functionalities to the people, issuing them and producing them.
In closing, here is Glenn Beck addressing the euro digital money. Listen what he says, and apply it to what's happening in America by President Trump, phasing out paper checks. Next, paper cash.
First of all, let's remember that for years, Christine Lagarde and everybody else, both here, foreign and domestic, have said that any worry about a CBDC is just a conspiracy theory. They have silenced, they have discredited anyone who warned of the dangers of this. But now, all of a sudden, I guess we all forgot that because now they're ready. And the stakes cannot be higher. I'm telling you, 18 to 48 months, our whole world is going to be different.
Mercy.
They are ready to launch this now, and the stakes for privacy, free markets, and individual liberty, especially anybody who kind of likes the Constitution, they're at risk, okay? This is a really dangerous pivot that is going on right now.
You know what? I never thought about this. Glenn Beck leans more right wing than left wing. I wonder if I were to have a genuine conversation with Glenn Beck and present this to him, what President Trump is promoting, I wonder what his response would be. Clip 2. I'm going to share with you why I'm rolling Glenn Beck. Just stay tuned. In the 4th clip, clip number 4, here's clip 2.
China has already done this. They launched in 2020 with their digital yuan. It tracks everything, and that gives you your currency, but it also gives you the currency to be somebody in good standing. If you don't do exactly what the state tells you to do, you're tracked, you're monitored, and guess who doesn't get to go on an airplane? Guess who doesn't get to take the train? Guess who can't go into certain buildings? You, because you're no longer in good standing. And it gets worse and worse and worse until you are literally living on the streets only because you disagree with the government.
Mercy. Stay right there. Clip 3, then on clip 4, you'll see why I'm rolling Glenn Beck.
Imagine using an EU-wide app to pay your bills, check in at an airport, rent a car, or upload a medical file. You log in with a unique lifelong ID number. To some, this probably sounds very convenient, much like traveling easily across borders with a digital COVID certificate that's recognized everywhere. To others, it's the stuff of nightmares, a digital prison of permanent surveillance and control. Either way, plans for an EU digital identity are coalescing, with a common toolbox expected to be unveiled this September. To debate this
Satan's toolbox. Here's Glenn Beck. Here's why I rolled his his soliloquy, his speech. Notice what he's going to say now to his million of viewers daily. All of his broadcasts, syndicated radio show, he says that the digital-only society is appearing to look like something from the book of Revelation. Watch this.
Back in 2020, the European Central Bank said 86% of all central banks are working on this right now. Oh, okay. Then, as she said, in 2024, there's a 2-year pilot. But now she said there's a rollout coming for digital currency from the Central Bank of Europe. So it went from conspiracy to reality in a year.
Mercy.
And I really am convinced that ASI, digital currency, that's all found in the Bible. I mean, I'm in Bible territory here, specifically the last part of the Bible. These are the tools that appear very much like the tools foretold, that will be employed by the Antichrist to snuff out anyone who dares to say, I'm really not with him.
Let me hear from you. 689-777-5198. I would really love to have a conversation with Glenn Beck on these points. What points stood out to you today? What's your feedback from today's lesson? We covered a lot today. Look at my time, 1 hour and 46 minutes. But friends, I hope the points were clear. I hope you receive substance. And we should not be fearful. Yes, as President Trump said, that we have to take a medicine. It's a bitter pill. A bitter pill. We all will have to partake of this bitter cup. But just remember this, that we can sweeten the bitter cup. We can sweeten it by putting pep in our step with a song. PEP, the acronym. Patience, endurance, and prayer. This is what we're going to need to endure in the last days. I'm hoping what we covered today was indeed substantive. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What's your feedback from the lesson today? Caller? Caller?
What has been, hello, I was on mute. Thank you for taking the call. What has been heard and seen today is what we've been hearing and reading about for years. And now the hour is upon us. What shall we do? And as was just said, we ought not to be afraid, but many will be afraid because God in his mercy is showing us you have to be attached to me. Don't be distracted, but be aware. We need now to learn how to fast and pray, how to praise the Lord, to tell him, thank you for choosing me for this time. Help me to do your work and to understand that we must hold everything loosely and hold fast to the hand that was nailed to the cross for us, because that's our only safety. We mentally thinking about not having food and shelter, most people will cringe. But we've already been told that. And this is why God said, trust me, if he fed his prophet of old by the ravens, he can feed us according to his will. But as was just said out of your mouth, PEP, we must exercise those principles and those things that have been laid before us. It's real. It's not fake. It's real. We're here and we need to move forward confident in our commander in chief, which is Jesus Christ, the righteous. Praise the Lord.
Amen. Thank you for calling in. Thank you,
You're
my
welcome.
sister. I hope I also had a second segment to cover, going into the experience that we need, things to strengthen our faith, but there's no way that can be done today. So we'll cover that shortly in a subsequent presentation. Caller, you're live on Safe to Serve. What's your feedback from today's lesson?
Well, Pastor, this is Stacy Mayo, and I got on late, but this situation, with the coins and the cameras and things, we just gotta hold on to Jesus and pray. That's all, that I feel we can do. But I did want to let you know that I need prayers for Christina. She fell down 6 flights of stairs today, and I'm still waiting on the hospital to let me know how she is.
Sure. Stay tuned.
Okay, thank you.
People are waking up. And not only those in the church, but we're seeing that people without are also watching the signs. They don't know where things are tending and the end goal, but they can see that something portentous is about to take place, that the world is on the verge of a stupendous crisis. They can see it, and they're getting ready as far as they know. What about us as God's people? I'm going to say one last thing. It's time to implement the 5 keys of survival. Now, this makes sense. Do you remember the Jam Trinity? Everybody needs a smartphone. It now makes sense. Preacher, let's release this.
See, I think if you think what are the tools of the new world, everybody should have.
What are the tools of this new world? New, it's modern. Trump's modern economic system.
See, I think if you think what are the tools of the new world, everybody should have a digital ID, everybody should have a bank account, everybody should have a smartphone.
Okay.
Then anything can be done. Everything else is built on that.
Because we were talking about this before we came onto
Everything
the panel. The 3 basic
can be built on that. Friends, a change has come to America. Let's make sure we are changing for the better. Father in heaven, in your presence we come today, understanding our inefficiency to be found prepared spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, and socially. But we cling to your words that God is our sufficiency. We cling to your words that you will provide for all of our needs. And today I bring this prayer request to you from Stacy for her daughter, Christina, as she is in need of help, health, healing, restoration. I know you'll grant it in your way, in your time. I pray that her faith will cling to your promises, for by her faith in you, she shall be made whole. And all of us have our prayer requests. And Father, we bring them to you. Like Hezekiah, we lay them out on the floor, request after request. And we say, Lord, how long? How long until we receive deliverance? And again, like Jacob, we say, we will not let you go until you bless us. As we see the signs all around us, may we be found getting prepared, being prepared, and getting others prepared. Today, I feel impressed to pray for the marriages. Lord, the marriages, husband, wife, may they be on one accord with you in spirit and in truth, and then one accord with each other. May the homes be set in order. Keep us faithful, we pray. Bring us back at the appointed time. Bless your people, those who made the sacrifice to join us here live, and those who will watch later on. May we do our part in imparting this to others. We thank you for hearing. We thank you for answering. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Again, friends, thank you for joining us today. It was a lengthy one, but I hope it was meat in due season. By God's grace, I'll see you on tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. Invite someone for midday power surge. The protest, the Reformation continues. Maranatha.